All right, for those people that have been watching the channel for a little while, you know that I love to read the comments. I love to mix it up with people in the comments, and we can learn a lot from reading comments. Let's give you an example. Your opinions are obviously founded on years of shooting experience. That experience does not qualify you to determine anyone's competence based on wording in a comment. You absolutely called someone inexperienced and a bad shooter based on zero evidence other than a comment. Are you honestly shocked that this would cause someone to take it not as constructive criticism, but as a personal slight designed to make yourself feel superior? All right, well, let's go through this and parse this out. Because, like I said, you can learn a lot from people's comments, and it's going to help. It helps you with your shooting to understand where other people are at in their shooting journey, and it helps you understand people's comments if you read them with a critical eye. So he says, your opinions are founded on years of shooting experience. True. This experience does not qualify you to determine anyone's competence based on wording in a comment. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and disagree with you there. So a lot of times I get to see people shoot, and a lot of times I read the comments they make on the internet. I spend a lot of my time doing this. So you're going to see a lot of correlation between this type of discussion, this type of vocabulary, this type of concepts that these people discuss online. You can see the topics that they're very reactive to, the comments that they make. You're going to see certain themes around comments always with anybody. And then you see things like, well, which of this ties into, performance shooting or higher level shooting and training concepts? And as a matter of fact, you learn a lot if you pay attention. There's just certain things that people don't care that much about if they're focused on higher level shooting. And then, like I said, other things that people are very reactive to if they're just not as experienced. Like I said, absolutely, you get qualified to learn these things. You absolutely called someone inexperienced and a bad shooter based on zero evidence other than a comment. Yeah, I did do that. Pretty impressive, isn't it? So what this guy's reacting to is when I say, hey, people that are articulating sight focus or target focus shooting, they're like, oh, I'm going to come up, I got to find the dot. What I see from people who talk that way is this. Gun comes up, find the dot. Okay, now they're staring at the dot. Now they can shoot stuff. As long as the dot comes back, and they're like, okay, put it back on the thing they want to shoot. That's typically going to be associated with finding the dot. That kind of thing. To me, that's pretty strong evidence, and that's based on years of experience, years of training, and years of meeting and talking to people. It's just the case that people, like when they're telling you about, hey, this is what I'm trying to do or whatever, they're telling you a lot, and you should listen. You should pay attention to that, and you can learn a lot from the way that people articulate concepts. Now, I've been forced to learn this in my job for like doing teaching for shooting because I'll be standing there watching somebody shoot on the line and they're doing whatever they're doing. I watch what they're doing, and then they will tell me what they're doing. And typically, now I'm not saying normally, or I'm not saying it's abnormal. I'm saying it is typical. It is the norm that what they are doing and what they say they are doing they're not the same thing. Almost never are they the same thing. They might say, hey, I grip the pistol like this. All right, okay, cool. That's how you grip the pistol. Then you watch them shooting. Boom, boom, boom. They start stacking on rounds. And whatever they're doing with their grip, you can see it changes. It changes. Like, okay, well, he's not doing that thing that he said he's doing. What's actually happening is, he's shooting. He starts stacking up a lot of rounds. I see his support hand kind of loosen up. Dominant hand takes over, clamps down on the pistol. So what he says is not what he's doing. That's another thing. All right? And this is all, this is important for me to understand this stuff, that people will say things that you learn a lot from. You're like, okay, I see where he's at. And then what they say is not the same as what they do, almost never. And I love this. Are you honestly shocked that this would cause someone to take it not as constructive criticism, but as a personal slight designed to make yourself feel superior? No, I thought that they would take it as antagonistic and would be upset by it and then start leaving angry comments is what I thought. That's what I thought would happen, and it did. I want to read another comment. People they don't like it when you call it for what it is. Okay, I think the most absurd All right, sorry. You make very helpful videos, but would never admit you overgeneralized or made a snap judgment on someone's experience and ability. It's like, I make snap judgments all the time, my dude. The funny part is you seem shocked that someone would be offended by being called a bad shooter based on a simple comment and what may or not been the misuse of a word find. It's just like, I'm not surprised by anything that's happening, no matter how we do the theatrics on the internet. It's like, I understand that you guys are going to get mad, and a lot of times I'm okay with you leaving the angry comments. That's fine. Personally, it is ridiculous. You strain to find fault with someone who might say they're shooting better because they're shooting tighter groups. Okay, so this guy's responding to another thing I said, where I'm saying typically if you see guys doing performance shooting, like the USPSA style or like whatever, multiple targets, multiple positions, that kind of thing, they are not measuring their shooting by group size. If you think about it, that's sort of nonsensical given engaging multiple targets in the same string of fire. You're not going to measure, like groups, it doesn't make sense to think in terms of groups. So when someone's like, hey man, yeah, I'm applying this and like my group size shrank. It's like, cool, that's a good thing. I'm glad his group size shrank. However, I also understand, like based on what I'm hearing there, it's like he's not doing the same thing that I'm doing. He's not doing this like multiple target, like really dynamic shooting thing. More than likely, that's not what's happening. All right. Frankly, if over time I shoot dramatically tighter groups on a consistent basis, I have improved my shooting accuracy. Here is where you tell me I'm wrong because you are tasked with defining what improvement should mean for everyone. Hypocrisy reigns supreme. No, I mean, if you believe it's good to shoot smaller groups, then you should go shoot smaller groups. I think that's fine if that's what you want to do. I'm just telling you, like, if you're interested in multiple target, dynamic shooting type of stuff, you're not going to articulate your level of accuracy that way. It's just not the way that people talk. Now, this is really helpful for me. I mean, that's why I like the internet a lot, because you learn a lot communicating with people like this. And it helps me. Like, so if I'm watching another shooting instructor, like I watched JJ Rakaza teaching, phenomenal shooter. But I'll watch him teaching, like, okay, we're doing prep and press. I'm like, cool, okay, we're doing prep and press. Watch him hammer down a plate rack at 15 yards in like 2.5 seconds or whatever. And it's just like, watch that. I'm like, okay, that's not what he's doing. That's what he said. That's what he articulated. That's not what's actually happening. He's not doing the prep and press. That's not what's happening. I'm watching it. I can see it on camera. That's not what's going on. So that helps me in my job to watch these things. Another good example. Like, let's say I'm discussing something with a class host. He's saying, hey, man, yeah, it's going to be great. We got 12 lanes at my indoor. 12 lanes wide. We can get 12 people up there to shoot on their target. That's going to be great. It should work out excellent. Now, when I hear that, it's just kind of like, okay, well, shooting on a line, I want to do that some of the time. But I'd like to have some movement, multiple targets for a guy, all these sorts of, I just want it to be more than that, more than one guy to one target shooting straight down range on that. I want to do dynamic training. So if I have a guy wanting to bring me in for a class and he's telling me about the range and how, like, oh, this is super good setup to do this, I know I need to ask more questions. You know, like, all right, do you have traps where you can shoot, you know, at different angles like this and this? How wide is the range? How many more targets can we put up there? Right? Because I want it to be as dynamic as possible. And what I'm hearing from this guy is, it's first, like, it sounds lame. It sounds like one lane per person, which is maybe it's like worst case scenario. It's not that you can't overcome it, but it's like not the ideal for sure. But then also he's like, he thinks that that's a really good setup, which means, okay, we're not speaking the same language as far as what we want to get out of the training. So I need to talk to him more to make sure that we have the same understanding of what it is we're even trying to accomplish. Language matters, I think, and it's good. I like the internet. I like reading people's comments because, again, you learn a lot. People give away a lot more than they think they're giving away, and I think it's good for me as the reader. I like to pay attention to that and learn as much as I can.